Oh, thank you, President Splind and fellow Rotarians. I am very honored today to introduce two people that are doing amazing things in our community. Sandee Munroe, I have known her 20 plus years. She worked for a company in Livermore that was very cutting edge when it came to being environmentally conscious. And we started a friendship many years ago, and she helped make my job very easy. So I always have remembered her and valued our friendship. Ronnie, you have come into our Rotary Club and just made such a huge difference, not only in our community, but here. And so today I'm very honored to have them today speak about an organization that they're working for, One Nation Dream Makers, and how they're making dreams come true for families in our community. Ronnie, Sandee, could you please come up?
My name is Ronald Anthony Forbes Sr., but I go by Ronnie. Joined the military in 1984. I went to Korea and went over there with hopes and aspirations of retiring out of the military. I met a Korean and fell in love with her, and so we got married. So I stayed there in Korea for 3 years. But bringing her home and bringing her with me, the alcohol and the drugs that took place while I was in the military to medicate, self-medicate my PTSD issues, came home with me as well. And once I started going to jail, it was just a downward spiral. I hadn't forgiven the military, and I hadn't forgiven myself for all of the things that I had done. So I chose to leave her and all of my support with my family and go to the streets. And I was homeless in Oakland, homeless in Hayward, and back and forth to jail because I was hanging out with the wrong crowds. I had my moment of clarity the last time that I was incarcerated. I heard a voice from God, and he said, look, you're either going to serve me behind these walls, or you're going to serve me outside of these walls, but you will serve me. So I moved to Livermore, not knowing anything about the Tri-Valley. I came out here to continue in my quest for sobriety. I go back to places and deliver food that I was once at. And because I was a homeless veteran before and out there hungry and standing in some of the same lines that I deliver food to now, it has motivated me to do more because that was once me. We hit a record of 1,295 boxes delivered. It was an incredible week. We usually deliver between 800 and 900 boxes a week, but if you take 1,295 boxes and you multiply that times 4, because each box feeds a family of 4 per week, there was over 5,000 people we were able to service with just the food box delivery. If I can help somebody because they don't have to go shopping by bringing them food, and they can take that money to go pay their electric bill or take that money to go and put on their rent, then it's a win-win situation. And I've been there.
I'm the Alameda County Supervisor, and as County Supervisor, I see people all day that are in need, that are hurting, that need food, that need assistance. I know, in my experience with government, that government cannot do all that it needs to do by itself. We rely on and need good partners in the community, people that know the people on the ground and that are able to deliver services with compassion, with dignity, and with respect. Now, when I first heard about Ronnie Forbes, I sort of knew what to expect, but I had no idea what I was in store for when I actually served alongside him. He has this boundless energy, that people feel good when they meet him. People feel good when they serve around him. And he just does great work.
If God blesses us, he blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others. Okay. Let me set my watch and stop my tears. First of all, I want to give honor to God, who is the orchestrator of everything that's going on in my life. And to all of you for coming into my life and helping bring out the best in Ronnie. You guys are a part of God's big plan for my life, and I want to thank all of you. This is an honor to be able to come up here and talk to you about what it was like, what it is like, and what it's going to be like. Okay. As you see, I was incarcerated for the last time in Santa Rita Jail, October 14th, 2016. I was released. Prior to that, you know, before I joined the military, I was a football player. I went to school with Reggie and Cheryl Miller in Riverside Poly High School as a football star, and went away to school at UC Irvine for a couple of years. And then I moved to Northern California and decided it was best for me to join the military. And that's when I went over to Korea. While I was in Korea, some things happened, you know, and I don't want to go into details with all of that right now, but I came back home with my ex-wife and we started a family and moved back to Riverside, California. And I started a catering business, left the catering business and went into restaurant management. I started managing a restaurant in Riverside. There's one here in Fremont in Riverside. It's called the Riverside Market Broiler. My friend owns all the market broilers. So I took over the Riverside store for 5 years and still dealing with a lot of issues that I didn't realize, self-medicating myself with drugs and alcohol. Well, not so much drugs in, but it was alcohol more so. And my ex-wife, she got tired. And so she decided that she was going to divorce me. I didn't know what to do. So I left her and my kids. We had 3 children at the time, Ronald Jr. and twin boy and a girl, Tycee and Amber. And I let her pretty much control her anger towards me. And it just went bad. So I started going back and forth to jail and doing things that I wasn't accustomed to doing because I was out in the streets by bad choices. I come from a very solid family. Mom and dad have been married 67 years and they are surrendered soldiers to our Lord. And they groomed me knowing what was right, but I, because of what I was going through, decided to do that prodigal lifestyle. I went out there and was the prodigal son. Well, thank God I had my wake-up call in Santa Rita Jail. And I learned 2 things that have stuck with me, and that is forgiveness and humility. I had to forgive the military, I had to forgive myself, and I had to go and ask for forgiveness for all of the things that I put my family through, which a lot of veterans won't have an opportunity to do that. You see, I wasn't suicidal, but I was living a suicidal life. I'm a miracle standing here today because God spared my life. But there's a lot of veterans out there, as you know, our veterans kill themselves every day, over 22 every day. So my heart is to pay it forward to not only veterans, but to anybody else who wants to have hope restored. And that's what this is about. So I came out of Santa Rita Jail and went into a veterans program called Operation Dignity. It was a homeless veterans program. And I started learning some things. And then they sent me on out to, when I turned 55 years old, I qualified for senior housing. So I moved into Heritage Park Senior Citizen Complex in Springtown. Livermore, wow, okay. So I came out here not knowing anything about the Tri-Valley, as you heard, or anything about any of this. And then I found, I ran into some veterans and they groomed me and they explained to me, hey, look, don't you know that you're one of us? I didn't even know I was a veteran of foreign wars. But because I was stationed at the DMZ in Korea and went through all the changes that I went through, that qualified me as a veteran of foreign wars. So they brought me into the Veterans Hall. Commander Mike Gilmore, who you'll see next week, and Ron Gillette, who was the commander at the time, and all of them groomed me, loved on me, and shared with me that I wasn't alone. So that was just like you all are a very important part of my life. They are too. They have elevated me. Now I'm the commander of the veteran post in Livermore. How did all that happen? Only God. So next week you'll see Mike, and then we'll see another slide later about a Veterans Day event that we'll talk about. But as I was in Heritage Park, I was always, Lord, I need help. I need help. I know you have a perfect woman for me somewhere. So that song that came on about dream, 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 I was dreaming about my best reward. For some of you that do know my wife, you love her. And those that you don't know her will fall in love with her. She's my gift from God. So, matter of fact, she's calling me right now. So yeah, that's not a coincidence. Where are you? I'm at a meeting. So then, I started with the food ministry fundraiser to elevate One Nation Dream Makers, because God gave me this vision while I was incarcerated. We started with a food ministry fundraiser, going out into the community and doing barbecue meals, because I'm a cook. I've been barbecuing for over 40 years. I was a cook in the military, and that's my gift and my passion. But then I started moving and doing all of that, joined the VFW post, and we started a food pantry. We were doing it on Wednesdays and Sundays. Smart and Final was giving us food. We were bringing it there, and we were having a distribution. But then when COVID came and shut us down, then things started to escalate with all of the USDA food boxes and the boxes that you saw here. And then I was even able to meet my brother Roland and his entourage over at Seek and Save, and we started developing a relationship with getting the food out to those who needed it. And so it just went from the Veterans Hall to shutting down for COVID. And then now all of a sudden, here we come with the last mile delivery. We got more need out there, and then we started with more opportunity. I started farmers markets, doing 3 farmers markets in 1 week. We were doing San Jose farmers markets, Santana Row on Wednesday, Livermore farmers markets on Thursday, Mountain View farmers markets on Sunday, and still running the food pantry. And it was just too much. And God told me enough is enough. I need you to go full-time into the food pantry work and go out there and do. I used to work for a living. Now I work for a giving. Okay. God told me, and I was obedient, and being obedient. That's why there's no question. Everything that is happening with this One Nation Dream Makers and in my life, it's all because of humility and servanthood and being obedient. I've learned that lesson the hard way, but I'm giving God all the glory. So when I come over to quit the farmers markets, Harv Singh, who was the owner of Livermore Farmers Market, said, hey, look, before you leave, I'm going to take you and your sister on a tour, because my sister still wanted to continue in the food business. She's been in it for forever. So we went over to a place that was closing because of COVID called Checkers Catering. And we went over there and took a tour, and I met Denise Slavitt, who was the president of the company, and met the brokers. And then we met her husband, Randy Smith. And as we were talking, we walked out the back door, and I couldn't believe it. I looked out the back door, and there was 4 big box trucks and about 10 vans. And I said, excuse me, we run a food pantry. Would you be thinking of donating a couple of these vehicles? He said, I just so happen to have 2 vans I'm ready to donate. So he donated 2 vans to us, but more importantly, he donated his heart and his family. They closed their business, and they took their for-profit knowledge, and they have come over to One Nation Dream Makers on a volunteer basis. He and his son started, and then his wife, after she closed down, started helping with the administrative paperwork and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, we get an opportunity of a lifetime. My dad's a pastor in Southern California, and he has a pastor friend that got handed a Riverside County fire station years ago to run his ministry and his food pantry out of. So when I found out that this fire station was closed on College Avenue, I said, wait a minute. If they're doing it in Riverside, why can't we do it here? I talked to Supervisor Halbert and we started talking, and one thing led to another, and God opened up that door. You guys have got to schedule a tour with Sandee to come by and see the Alameda County Fire Station. So Sandee Munroe has come aboard. She was the director of operations for Checkers Catering for over 30 years. She had retired and she wasn't thinking about doing anything other than going and living in retirement until she came over and saw what God had for her in this open door with what we've got going on now. So giving all honor to God and giving all honor to the tag team that is advancing God's kingdom. I could not do any of this without a team that is working together to accomplish the purpose that we have been called to. And I want to invite Sandee Munroe up here to go ahead and tag team and let you all know what we're doing on the distribution side. But she is our gift from God. I call my wife my right hand. Sandee is my left hand. Okay.
Well, Ronnie always makes me cry. I thank you. I get too many kudos too. So I am completely blessed by God too. Like Ronnie said, the background I come from was Checkers Catering and special events. And we were very passionate about our company, and my sister-in-law, the CEO, and my brother, in charge of everything else. We've been in the Livermore community for years, and when COVID hit, it hit us hard, and we went through the first year trying to survive on to-goes and sharing with places that were still in business. We had to sell, and it was rather painful and dramatic. And up to that point, we were pretty worn out anyway, Denise and I, and really wanted a reason to retire. So I kind of had a plan and was going to move to Montana. And then as we were closing, it was hectic. So I didn't have much time with Ronnie, as I was too busy doing my own thing. And as things settled down, once we sold, I was re-invited and went to the firehouse and saw that. And I said, oh, we can do this, we can do that. And we'll do this in that room. And here I am. I wanted to work part-time, and that's not the case anymore. So with God's grace, and we've been teamed up with Alameda County Food Bank, and we receive product from them every Tuesday, as well as Recovery when they implemented this SB 1383 bill, the state that stores have to turn in their food that's as far as expiration date. And then technically that extends beyond the date that they have to sell. But instead of them throwing away that food, we receive that food. We do up to 4 or 5 stores a day that we pick up from. And we go through and we take that food, the produce in particular, and go through and sort it and make sure that we've got all the good stuff. And then we redistribute. So we redistribute to the places in Livermore that we're really solid with and that are actually a part of our official team is Tri-Valley Seek and Save, Roland. And we deliver boxes to Roland of produce and dry goods, and he gets to distribute those to the community. And that's created a partnership we're really blessed to have. And it's such a weird thing, because I really didn't want to work anymore. I was just so burned out from catering, and then God put me on this path with Ronnie and meeting all these different people, Roland in particular, and different relationships. I'm so blessed and so empowered to have the ability now to do the nonprofit and give to people that are in critical need. And that's what our focus is getting back to not just the homeless, but people that are in critical need, that are living in senior housing, like Eden housing, that's low income housing, Owl's Landing, we distribute to. And when I say distribute with Roland, we do boxes and produce and canned goods. With these other locations, we set up what I call client choice. So we set up a set of 8-foot tables, and we put out meats and dairy and fresh produce, and then other items. So people line up whatever their day is. We go out every day to different locations, and they shop. And so the ones who can't shop, they have somebody come help them. And it's an experience that not only are we feeding them good food, it's also a spiritual experience. We get to talk to them, and if there's some great stuff, I pump it up. So, this is looking really good today. And we have a great team at One Nation Dreammakers who are also all very passionate, that are the core of our, what I call our core group. And then we have lots of volunteers now that come and help us make boxes and such, but it continues to grow exponentially. We're also at Heritage Park. We go there all the time. We go to Shepherd's Gate every week. These are all Goodness Village. We go out and do a market for them. And it's all just so, you just see the difference that we're making in people's lives. And we're just blessed to, that it keeps growing. And we have a lot of support. We're also in other areas of Alameda County, besides Livermore. We're in other areas of desperate need in Oakland, Fremont, Union City, and Hayward. So I'm proud to be a part of this organization, and blessed to be, what was it you said? Not working for,
Used to work for a living.
and
Now we work for
giving. It's so awesome. So that's did I forget anything? Probably, but
No,
I'm not very
you did
Is it-
exceptionally well.
so thank you so much.
Thank you.